I don't have a huge following, but I still feel a responsibility to say something. I lived in LA for 4 years now, and what's happening with the ICE raids, the fear, the silence, especially from those within the Asian American community, has been really weighing heavily on my heart. I grew up in Queens, New York around large Latino and Hispanic communities, and I've witnessed firsthand how deeply connected our communities are. A lot of Asian-owned businesses often rely on the labor of undocumented workers, often quietly without any acknowledgement. And now when the same people are being targeted, the silence is loud. It's painful. We come from immigrant families. We know what fear looks like, and we know what sacrifice looks like. And yet so many of us turn a blind eye when others are being targeted for the very reasons we're here. To those who are affected, I don't know what to say. I am truly sorry. You deserve to feel safe and you deserve to be seen. And to influencers, this moment calls for more than just posts about hidden gems in LA and food spots. If we love the city and its people, we need to show up for them too. If you have the privilege to post about where to shop in LA, then you have the power to say this isn't right. That is not political, that is just being human. I am not trying to call people out just to create noise. I am saying this because I care. This isn't about blame, it's about showing up. Speaking up doesn't require a perfect statement. It's honestly just about heart and showing compassion. And if you have a platform, even a small one like mine, it does matter. Be the voice for those who can't.
Hey guys, so China is saying that they are willing to liberate California if Trump continues that BS and don't stop oppressing the people. What a fucking twist. I don't think you understand. China, remember China? Ni hao. They are saying they are going to liberate California. This is serious. Just try to look at it from outside. The president deployed the Marines against the citizens. Do you know what the Marines do? They're not a joke. And yes, I am proud of the Marines. But they are misused. Now, the fact that a country that we have been told for so many years, since we are kids, they're communists, they're dictators, they eat cats, they are the one that kind of sounds like making sense right now. And I am a little concerned. And I wonder myself, did we switch to a different timeline or some type of twisted reality?
To all of the East Asian Americans who think that you are oh so different than all these Latino communities that are getting ripped apart by ICE and think that your pale skin is going to protect you somehow, you are being fucking delusional. Like, it's barely been one full lifetime since we've seen something very similar happen to our very own communities in this country. My great-grandparents' house was seized and taken from them by the U.S. government, and they had to live in the sugarcane fields because the U.S. government was detaining legal United States citizens. My great-grandparents were born and raised in the United States, and so were many of their peers, and yet our communities were getting torn apart, our shrines being destroyed by the government, and in the case of Oahu, Hawaii, where 5 generations of my family have been born and raised by now, the island was essentially turned into a militarized state. My great-grandparents never got their house back, and the land that their house used to be on is currently military housing. Which is why, as a Japanese American, I look at other East Asian Americans and I just don't understand how you cannot have just a small shred of empathy for these families that are getting ripped apart for no fucking reason. And like I said, my family has been here for 5 generations, and yet I am still scared for my young cousins who are going off to college soon, and they're going to be by themselves for the first time, and all of our aunties and grandparents are telling them, make sure you carry your passport around with you everywhere you go, because you just don't know. Anyway, my point is that we have to have solidarity with each other because we are so much more similar than we are different. And for the love of God, please, if you're not going to do anything else, at least share resources. It takes like less than 10 seconds to hit repost.
For any Asian people who are selfish as fuck and are not standing in solidarity to Hispanic people over ICE immigration, just remember you're next, and you are not that different from them. You know, all your excuses of, it doesn't have anything to do with me, I mean, I'm legal and stuff, they don't care. You're gonna be targeted because keep in mind, you're not white. The system never will see you as white. They see you also as an immigrant. Guess what? After Hispanic people get deported, who's also going to be deported? Asian people. You're not safe from it. You're not white. They're not going to target white immigrants, and they can't target really black people because for a lot of reasons, honestly. So they're gonna target you. You're not safe because you perpetuate racism towards other groups all the time. No, you are just as likely to be a target as any Hispanic person, honestly. Like, I fear you should care.
I can only speak to Koreans of the diaspora because Asian is not a monolith. There are 4.8 billion Asian people in the world. There are 48 recognized Asian countries, so I can only talk to my people. Now, I understand why so many Koreans in the US specifically are silent, because there has been so much ancestral and intergenerational trauma that has made you forget. It's called memoricide as a result of US imperialism and colonization that spans centuries. When your grandparents, your parents, and possibly even yourself immigrated to this country, as a form of protection, you assimilate to whiteness because it affords you spaces of privilege and power. But what that actually does is a spiritual disconnection to your ancestors, your culture, and ultimately yourself. And because of the model minority myth, we are then used as tools of supremacy against our Black brothers and sisters. Can I just say that, like, you'll get far when you assimilate to whiteness. Like, you will be accepted into predominantly white institutions, you'll get far with capitalism, you'll have a nice cushy lifestyle, but you will never be accepted by whiteness. Not only do, like, we physically cannot, like, look at our phenotype, but you will never be accepted by them. And why would you want to? And I say this with so much love and compassion because I know our shared history. It's so painful and layered. And some of our ancestors chose to be freedom fighters while others chose to align themselves with occupation and whiteness and colonialism. Ultimately, this is all tied to self-worth because we've forgotten through time where we came from, who we really are, the richness of our culture. Something that my friend Tamsin Lee, who's also Korean, said to me 5 years ago is that we are from the land of the motherfucking tigers. Start acting accordingly.
So as I'm watching everything unfold in LA, I'm just wondering, where are all of the Asian voices? Like, where are we speaking up in all of these raids, in all of these protests? I am by no means an influencer, but I feel like there's just such an absence of our representation in what is going on. We need to stand together with all of our brothers and sisters of every shade and demand better treatment. Due process is owed to everyone under the Constitution, not just people who were born here or whose family came here legally. Those legal avenues are probably not available today. Immigration law is fluid, it is ever changing, and just because your family did it right doesn't mean they could do it right today.
Obviously, as somebody who's on TikTok a lot, I'm seeing a lot of people from every ethnicity saying, where are all the Asians at? Why are they not talking about what's happening in LA? And let me just say this. I think the problem might be your FYP because we're here. We're talking about it. All my Asian American friends are talking about it, and we've been talking about it. And yet I still run into some videos where people are complaining about us, and I'm like, yeah, that's not us. I feel like we've been out here. Sure, majority of Asian Americans are not very politically active, but the very few that are, we are like out loud. We're talking about it. We've been talking about it. Like every social movement, we're kind of like in it. In the grand scheme of things, obviously when I go to the protests, the majority of people are not Asian, but I feel like we cannot still be discounted. Like there's so much work we still need to do as a community, but I still don't discount the very few people that are obviously showing up every single day, day in, day out, like fighting the good fight. So these videos are disheartening, but it just tells me that your inner circle or your outer circle or your online circle is not wide enough. You need to get more friends because we're here.
Now, I'm seeing this question pop up a lot. Why is the Asian community so quiet on the ICE raid topic? Now, I'm not speaking for all Asian people, but this is just my point of view. My family's from Laos. My parents spent years in refugee camps before being able to come here legally. So a lot of us from a very young age was taught accountability. You know, we were getting lectures after lectures after lectures on doing the right thing. Getting our ass beat for doing wrong things. So there are a lot of Asian people that are for deportations of, illegals. And not everybody, okay? Not all Asian people are for it, but I see most of us are. And we understand why you want to come here illegally and skip the process. People just want to live good lives, do better for themselves. But there is a right way of doing things. So if you do come here illegally and get caught, you need to take accountability for your actions. That's why a lot of times if you see an Asian person get deported, we don't make a big fuss about it because, they got to take accountability for their actions. And they know that. We don't have hate towards law enforcement because, they're just doing their part. They're just doing their jobs because they didn't do their part. And we do feel terrible about, or at least I do feel terrible about, families being ripped apart. But, they know the risk involved and they were willing to take that risk. Again, you got to take accountability. And a lot of people refer Asians as, model immigrants because, we are here to better ourselves, get an education, respect law and order. We just don't want any trouble. Like, we want peaceful lives. And so if we do get in trouble for something that we did, then we own up to it. That's it. So my heart does go out to the families of the deported. Hopefully they can find their way back, hopefully legal, so that they may, live peaceful lives. I wish y'all the best.
People who are on the streets cracked out on fentanyl and meth asking for money, white. School shootings and domestic terrorism, white. 41% of homicide offenders, white. 41% of fatal police shootings, white. A criminal in office who is our president, white.